Hi, everybody. A lot of people have been talking about the upcoming four Beatles films directed by Sam Mendes, who has a good reputation. He's done movies like American Beauty and Skyfall. And I think if there's going to be a director, this is a good choice because he's got a good track record. But I have not yet really weighed in on the actors who are chosen, supposedly, and I believe it's official now, to play the four Beatles. Now, I've always said it's very difficult to cast the Beatles. I mean, if you're doing a movie on Elvis Presley or Bob Dylan, you only have one individual that you have to worry about casting and finding the right actor. But how do you do it when you have four distinct looks and personalities and voices for the Fab Four? Not easy. And in seeing the pictures here of the actors, just going by photos, I'm not convinced yet because physically they don't look like the Beatles to me. Although I realize it's not just about physicality, you also have to just embody the essence and the aura of the character. So even if a person doesn't look exactly like the person that they're portraying, maybe they can make you feel like they're them if you do it properly and you can get that actual vibe. All right. Now, we have the actors as follows, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any names. Paul Mescal playing Paul McCartney. He doesn't really strike me as looking like Paul. Makeup can be a really marvelous thing if done right. Then we have Joseph Quinn playing George Harrison. Again, I see no resemblance at all to George with Joseph Quinn. And then we have Harris Dickinson, who's going to be John Lennon. Nah, I don't see it either, folks. I don't see it either. And in the picture of all four actors together, John Lennon is taller than the others. I mean, I realize this has to be very difficult to get right. The one thing about the Beatles is they're all pretty much the same size across height wise, except for Ringo, who was 5'8", I think, and noticeably shorter than the other three. They got that right because I think out of all the actors here, I think the actor who plays Ringo, Barry Keoghan, seems to be the most realistic. I think his facial features kind of can, be taken for Ringo Starr. So I think out of the four actors, I would say that Barry as Ringo, just by looks, now I'm only talking looks, is the closest. Magic can happen when you make movies. The right direction, the right acting. As I say, you have to not only feel you're looking at the Beatles physically, but you have to feel like they sound like each one of the Beatles and they actually act and just have the personality and feel of the actual people that they're portraying. Now, the thing is too, this movie is not coming out till I think 2028. That's 3 years away from when I'm making this video. That's another reason. A lot of times when I'm doing live streams and talks with a lot of my viewers, they ask me, what do I think about the movie? And I say, well, the movie's not going to be out for like 3 years now. I mean, I don't even really want to discuss it yet, which I don't. But since we're getting the casting down, at least we can discuss that. But supposedly there's going to be four different films made about the Beatles. And I'm wondering if that's not a mistake, to tell you the truth, because while we Beatlemaniacs, people like me, are going to be there at the theater for all four films, I wonder if the general public is going to give a damn, actually. I mean, do you think you're really going to get the general public to go to the movie theater to see not one, not two, not three, but four different stories on the Beatles? And while some people may be interested in seeing the story of Paul McCartney and the story of John Lennon, are we going to really get that many general people going to see the other versions, the one about George, the one about Ringo? I mean, I especially Ringo. I mean, I just wonder if they're going the wrong way with this. Now, it's been said here in an article that I'm reading from Variety. It says here that they're going to have the permission to use the Beatles' music. They get all music rights. So that's really a vital factor here. And that might draw in some people because you're going to actually get the real Beatles recordings used here. But I don't know. I'm very dubious and skeptical, I should say, about how they're going to be able to make these four different films, kind of biopics from the perspective of each different Beatle, how they're going to make each one interesting. Now, I've also said many times, people have asked me, like, what do you think of the idea of making a Beatles movie? I said, well, it's tough to tell the story of the Beatles, the full story of the Beatles, in one film, because if it's 2 hours or even 2.5 to 3 hours of a movie, that's not enough. I used to say you need a mini series, 4 or 5 chapters. The Beatles story is really involved. It's amazing. It's very dramatic. It's very, very involved. You can't just do one movie. So I'm thinking, I wonder if Sam Mendes wouldn't have been better served if he had made, instead of making 4 films, just making 2, maybe one film, make them both 3 hours long if you need to be. 2 3-hour films where one of them takes care of the earlier Beatles and then maybe the second one, the later Beatles. I just think that maybe you get more of an audience coming to that. I just don't see how 4 movies are going to be well attended or anybody's going to really be interested aside from the diehard Beatlemaniac. So, yeah, I like to be proven wrong. Let's see. Well, this is where we're going, and I hope everything works out fine. Just checking a few notes here. As I say, it's too early, way too early. Let's just hope that it's a good result. And I think, as I say, in the driver's seat with Sam Mendes in there, we've got somebody that's very capable at least. Thanks, folks.